Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasminavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we are on chapter 10 of Bhagavat Geeta. And last time in the mandir we did verse 8. And Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna that I am the source of all. From me everything evolves. Understanding this, the wise, endowed with loving consciousness, worship me. And there was a word bhav sanmitaha, and it was a little bit difficult to translate in English, but it was like with lot of bhav, they worship because they know who I am, and I am the source of everything. So we went in detail, and now he's talking further that how to achieve or create that loving consciousness in us. The little method is there, a little more, he's little opening up more for Arjuna, how to go about it. So that's what this verse is. So whoever has the Gita is verse 9. Machchitta madgata pranaha bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. So machchittaha, with their minds wholly in me. So like तो आप तुम्हारा मन कहाँ है ऐसे पूछते हैं ना हिंदी में. So mind is in Brahman. Mat gat pranaha, with their life absorbed in me. So he was not just happy with just mat chitta, so he added another word, mat pranaha. पूरा जैसे बोलते हैं ना मेरे प्राण उसमें बसते हैं ऐसे बोलते हैं हिंदी में. That's how. So now you got the gist that what Krishna is trying to tell. And then the next word is bodhayantaha. Bodhayanta is a little deeper than just enlightening, means talking about and trying to make each other understand it. Learning and listening both goes in this bodhayanta, and we'll see more about it. Parasparam we know mutually. Kathayanta, जैसे कथा करना. इंडिया में बहुत सारी कथाएं होती है भगवान के बारे में. Speaking of, that's how you increase the love, because you hear the nice stories and you get involved in it. Cha is and, Mam is me. When Krishna Bhagavan says me, means that consciousness. Nityam is always, we know this word. Tushyanti, जैसे संतुष्ट हो जाना जिसको बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, satisfied. This word tushyanti is coming from santushti. And then ramanti, किसी में रमण करना, means to be delighted in, reveling in. That's another word for it. Cha is and. So we'll see Nikhilananji's commentary and Swamiji's, they bring different angles. So what Bhagavan is saying, that the seekers, obviously he's talking about the people who want to go on this path, who believe in that higher self, they place their mind in me, he's saying. So what he was trying to say, Nikhilananji, that this is a seeker who are sincere, right? And serious about gaining that state of realization, And he's saying very few people are interested in this. Most of the people are interested in the worldly things. We know, even if they go to the mandir, they will say, mujhe ye mil jaye, mujhe wo mil jaye, and all that. So that's okay, whatever you want to do. But if you are interested more to get that state of realization, for that, those people he's addressing this. So those who are serious about recognizing and knowing God, then this is the path that we have to kind of follow. So he was just saying that he's laying down the path, right? That this is what you need. So Nikhilananji is kind of funny. He said, even in the world, suppose if you want to meet the president, there's a whole protocol. ये करना पड़ेगा. Without that, you cannot just shake hand with president. We know. So he's saying that now you're talking about meeting the creator of the whole world. Forget about the president, master of the world. And I think in Christianity, they always use this term, king of the universe. I like that word a lot too, king of the universe. So what is the procedure, he's saying? So what Nikhilanandji did was he actually brought the whole path to kind of synthesize with what Krishna Bhagavan is saying here. So we have a connection in Bhagavad Gita. So obviously the first step was Karma Yoga, action, right? Second step was there, put your feeling in there, mat chitta. So that's where the bhakti comes in, And then mat prana, thinking also comes in. So that's Gyan Mark, So this is what it is. And last is that meditation. So he was just saying that, of course, the goal is that's the final thing. But meditation is very subtle, he was saying. When we say that state of meditation, no thinking is allowed. And it's hard to get to that stage. You have to transcend the thinking and feeling. But this is the path. The path is Karma Yoga, which is, and then path of, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and then comes Dhyana, right? Last. So, and Dhyan means just being. It is not an action. Dhyan is not an action. So, we have discussed it many times that some people say, oh, I want to learn meditation. So, it's a kind of a wrong way to say it. It's like preparing for meditation, I want to learn. So, remember that, because he was just saying that it's something like, if somebody says, teach me meditation, it's like somebody asking, teach me sleeping. What can you do with sleeping? You just create an atmosphere. You lie down, make it dark, don't think too much. And then you reach the state of sleep. So same way, he's saying meditation is not an action, it's subtle. So that's why we have to start with somewhere. That in the Karma Yoga, then involve our mind in our sadhana and a feeling with bhakti, and then, so you see the connection now, and involve our intellect, and that's Gyan, all of that when you employ then. And then in the end, you have to transcend this body, mind, intellect thing, and then remain at the level of just being. That is meditation. That's what he was saying. So Bhagwan, now keeping that in mind, he said the serious seeker who want enlightenment, they become mat-chittaha. They fill their entire mind with my thought. That's what mat-chitta is. They contemplate and try to understand my nature. That's what mat-chitta is. And he was just saying that their mind is all the time in me. And when Swamiji, Chinmayanandji will, in his commentary, will explain, it doesn't mean that I have to drop everything of what I have to do in the world and keep thinking about God. That's not what they are saying. It's the awareness that God is a substratum of everything. That's called putting your mind in God. Yeah, you can have an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, whatever in the day to just think about that and contemplate. That's good. But what do you mean by mat-chitta? The rest of the time you have to be aware of it. And then, I was saying that log puchte hai, tumhara man kahan hai? So seeker's mind is on God, because that's why most of the bhaktas also, कुछ भी negative होएगा तो बोलेंगे भगवान की मर्जी. They're connected very quickly and just settle down, And then the next word he used was mat gata pranaha. All the organs, there are two, three meanings of it, जिसमें जैसे बोलते हैं ना, उसमें किसी में प्राण बसते हों, तो your sense organs are also connected to that particular factor. And you can say your organs of actions also. Everything can be said. Swamiji, Chinmayanandji focused more on the organs of perception, our Jnana Indriya. And here, Nikhilanandji said organs of action, which both are fine. So that is dedicated to God. And Karma Yoga, they say anyway, that, hey, do your action, don't worry about the result. And it's the same thing, because the result is in hands of God. So whichever you want to go, you come to the same circle. And then pranas, if you want to open it up a little more, it's a vital energy or something called life in us. That life is dedicated to God realization, to enlightenment, to gain that state. And he was just reminding us that is the ultimate of the human existence, because, worldly things are sidey stuff. We need to do that too. But ultimate is to connect to the higher like that. So that's why one has dedicated their entire life for this. And now the next word is bodhayantaha parasparaha. So they interact with each other and they talk about me alone. So now you can imagine, you cannot just pick up anybody to interact with. That's why we have this study group, like-minded people. Because जो नास्तिक लोग होंगे उनके सामने you start singing the songs of God, they'll be very angry with you. So I won't even recommend that. And I think that's why this study group, you will see when Krishna Bhagavan was talking about this, it looks like a study group. So the Bodhayanta, the word means to explain and teach, and both comes in it, like listening and interacting, and or the wisdom that we are trying to bring out, So even whatever you understand, you can explain it to others. It's like a discussion also, like we sometimes do with question answers and all that. Explain these people are, some people will focus more on, hey, what I have learned this and I have to talk to others, explain the essence and all that. So he was just saying that if you put all these together, you should think about it, talk about it, discuss and explain to others. And that's the best way to learn. And I think, to me, that's why Chinmayananji started this concept of study group. Study group is more like, so when we go on Sundays, there's a lecture there, we don't have question answer. But here we can discuss and all that. So because it goes deeper, you clear your doubt more easily and all that. That's why. So, and then Nikhilananji was saying, best way to learn is to teach someone, because then you are forced to think. So he's saying that's why he reminded us that our Gurudev, with his kindness gave us this path also. He kind of, how we have the Bal Vihar classes and all that, and then in the study groups and all that he had this in mind, this verse probably in mind. And he was just saying that we should encourage all the questions from different people. Why? Because when a person asks a question, some new window can open up in your mind that you may not have thought about, and then you start thinking about it in a different way, which can help your understanding, because each person has his own way of thinking, and you may not have thought about it that way if somebody asks a question. So now you can look at it from a different perspective, and that's why it's a good idea to listen to different swamis also, because sometimes they bring out different things that you may connect to, so he was just saying that that's a very good, important thing. And more you listen to these questions and their answers, more understanding will become complete. Okay, and of course, when you are discussing, you are learning and teaching, and that understanding goes well. And then he was just talking about children also, that he's saying that we should teach about the essence also of Bhagavat Geeta, because they will understand what it is and what is eternity and all that. And then obviously you cannot tell children, you have to give it in a little bit their language. But that's what the whole idea was of Bal Vihar and Chinmaya Mission, is that you start very early and then slowly build it up. By the time they go to 10th and 11th grade, they start learning Bhagavad Gita, and not the way we do it, but in their language and all that. That's what he was just saying, because he's saying that they need to know that self is same in all, and kind of build it up, and that's the entire source of creation and all that. Because he's saying that we keep on teaching them many different stories and all that, we miss out the essence. We'll tell them the Mahabharata Ramayana story, which is also very nice. Through that you can teach, but you should try to go towards the essence also. That was a good thing he said. So, and he was saying that when you say, hey, teach each other, learning is a big part of it. Even the teacher is learning, and I know that because of this class, I learn a lot, so I'm very thankful to all of you. And then another thing, he was saying that we should listen with attention, and I didn't think about this thing. So he's saying when you learn something new, say, from a teacher, he said that in the beginning, only 25% goes into your head. This is just a general thing, just to think about it. And he's saying another 25% when you discuss it with your fellow students. That's why the discussion is very important. Who has heard the same thing from the same teacher, but now you're discussing with everyone. And he's saying the other 25%, so that makes it 75%, is when you sit down and think about it yourself alone. So you heard it, then you discussed it with the group, then you sat down and think about it, 75%. What is that last 25%? He said passage of time. It needs some time to sink in. And passage of time, when you keep all that stuff, suddenly you will one day say, oh yeah, like that. I think in America they call it the aha moment or something. You heard everything. Now I get it. What? It happens. It used to happen a lot in study groups. In the beginning, we heard something, we're so confused. We don't know what is happening. And one day we say, oh yeah, now I understand because somebody said something, and it's so exciting to kind of get it. So that's what it is. So in a nutshell, Bhagavan is saying that you place your mind in me, you dedicate all your life to me, you teach about me, learn about me from others, and discuss about me. Okay? So this is what. And then the next couple of words are kathayantascha mam nityam. They constantly talk about me, my essential nature. And that, I think Swamiji will explain very nicely what does it mean. Because it's not like I'm doing my, katha morning to evening. That's not what exactly it means. It means being aware, like I said. And then he was just saying that, outer details are good to learn about God and all, but the essence is very important. And that's what when he talk about it. So the more you do all these things that he's saying, more clarity will come to you. And then he sometimes he has some joke just to bring out a point. He's saying that some people, they laugh at the joke for 3 times. How 3 times? One time when they hear it, one time when you tell somebody, and he's saying last one when they understand the joke, they laugh again. That was funny. Anyway, So idea is just thinking, talking, listening, teaching, dedicating our life to it. That's a beautiful method, he was just saying that, So this is the path of contemplation and study. That's what basically it comes down to. And this is the path which is indicated by our scriptures and the Upanishads and all that. And then the last point is that tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So Bhagavan says that people who do these things, they are, journey doesn't have to be boring. I was thinking about it, like, I don't know, all of us must have gone to this, our picnics when we were in high school and all that. Every school has like one day, I don't know, in Mumbai they had it, like, picnic. And we used to go in a bus. That's the time we got to not wear our uniform. We could wear what we wanted. And then, and everybody was together. And we didn't even care about the destination. We just loved being in that bus, doing halla gulla, singing, this, that, And when we reached the destination, we didn't even care. We used to go to Elephanta Caves. And those days, I had no value for it. And then later on, after coming to America, after many years, we went back to Mumbai and my husband took me to Elephanta Caves and I was so fascinated because it was like, wow, I used to come there every year. I never paid attention. That was an aha moment. I wish I knew. So something like that the journey also you want to enjoy. And that's what Bhagavan is telling, that these people who are talking about me and all, it's so fascinating that they are tushyanti means they're satisfied when they hear that. And ramanti means they're just enjoying themselves being in it, So this is what it is that, and then Chinmayananji is gonna give some more explanation about that, which is also interesting when we read it. So basically their mind is in it, they have dedicated the life to Bhagwan and all those things. And then he was just saying that it's called God intoxication. So because some people need some other stuff, but here these people are God intoxicated. And not just with some kind of feeling only, that some mushy kind of feelings, but with understanding, going deep into your mind, not just sentiments, but he's saying like a scientist, you understand the whole thing. Because Vedanta is not just, it is logical also, it has a lot of science in it also. So he was just saying that he gave an example. It's like if somebody is thinking constantly about some subject, and then suddenly some understanding happens. And we have all heard this Archimedes story, right? He was doing some I know, but as a kid, we had learned this story. He was thinking about the buoyancy and all that, about the water and the ship and all that. And then suddenly he was so relaxed in the bathtub. And then he jumped out because he got that understanding. And he was not even getting close. He started running, Eureka, Eureka, bolke. So that's what he was just saying, that's what is going to happen. That when you're constantly thinking about it, suddenly a flash of understanding might come to you. And that is called state of meditation, according to him. Because sometimes we wonder, hey, what is this meditation about? So because you are because the path is listening, contemplating, and meditation. So contemplating part you keep doing, and then flash will happen. And then so that's a peak of understanding, he was saying. That's what, so we're trying to understand meditation from all different angles. Okay, so that's what this path is, reveling in it. It brings great joy. And then he's saying that once you start, you are tushyanti and ramanti, you will actually not worry about it. Because like I was telling that example of going to the picnic, we didn't care about the destination. We are just, but destination we pahunch hi gaye. Right? So you will not worry about the knowledge. When will I get this and all that, because in the next verse, Bhagwan will just say that. Don't worry, I will give you that knowledge. When I see that you are sincere and you are doing all these things, I will give you. That is a promise by Lord Krishna. So that's what is connected with it. You just create the environment within you and I will give you the knowledge. And then he was just saying, again, brought the example of sleep that we have talked about. You just create the atmosphere and sleep just comes. That's what it is. And then he also gave a very, very beautiful example, which they give in Vedanta, about rubbing wood with each other to create fire. So that's how they do it when they do yagnas and all that. So he's saying that the wood is rubbed, two pieces of wood, and they become warm, and then they start giving out smoke, and suddenly catches fire, and that's what it is. So he's saying that a cold wood mein or gile wood mein nahi hoega wo. The wood, it has to be warm, and all the liquid has to escape from there, right? So all the doubts, as though you can just equate it to whatever. And then and when you are rubbing, it keeps warmer and warmer, and then it suddenly catches fire. And they're saying once it catches fire, then you don't need to rub it anymore. Just sit down and relax and enjoy the fire. So I thought that was such a beautiful example. So to kindle that fire of knowledge, we need that proper contemplation. That's why he said this verse, And so this is the process of meditation. So he's saying that the meditation is that fire that burns all the darkness, destroys the darkness, and gives us that experience of enlightenment, So this is what this verse is all about. And Lord Krishna is going to give that promise in the next verse, verse 10. So any question or comment about it? And anybody has any thing to add? Yeah, Meena ji.
There was the last 25% that you talked about, the first, would that be that becomes one with you? Would you call that? Or is the aha moment or the thing that you were thinking about, that becomes a part of you? It becomes a habit. It's you then. Is that correct?
I think it's you, and that you can say that aha moment is when you are totally convinced. Like
25% would be the beginning of the whatever is going to become with you. It's not that it has become with you, but it is the beginning, because the aha moment is there.
Yeah, you can say that. I think that's fine. And these things are just to kind of give you an idea how each person is different. Right. We saw that somebody like Nachiketa, he was already so advanced, and then he was already 95% there, and we might start with 0. Who knows? So these are just, I think the whole idea he was trying to say when he did this percentage, just by reading is once, you're not going to get it. And we know about Bhagavat Geeta also. Yeah. You read it first time and hardly anything goes into your head. It takes years for it to sink in. And even now, it's like a Mahasagar, there's so much in it. Other people, they can keep opening it up because it's a book that can give you enlightenment. All of the Shastras are like that. So there's so much packed in it. So they are just encouraging you to not give up, and just revel in it. And then they, like Bhagwan said, that the more you go, the more fascinated we get about it.
Right.
Because there's so
Okay.
much in it and so much.
If you go to the Taittiriya Upanishad, earlier we read,
Yeah.
you have all these ladders, different
Yeah.
kind of pleasures. So your aha moments start when you get out of the worldly cycle, where the highest you can have is the Manam Anandmaya Kosha, which is limited, which is worldly. You can have the highest Manush pleasure, but it's not that aha. Aha is when you go beyond that, the real Anand. So there are these ladders explained in the Taittiriya
Yeah,
Upanishad.
what we did.
Till you merge with him. Merge with him is you lose your identity.
Yeah.
So,
Go
okay,
on.
merging with him. Right now, I thought we were talking about some doubts, and that the doubts are cleared, and once that is cleared, and that whatever it is becomes one with you, that you are established in it. But you're saying more than that.
I mean, once you're established, then you it's like you know it so well, nothing can shake you. And that's why Krishna Bhagavan used the word Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means totally established in that nothing can shake you. And you know this world is unreal. And that's why those people don't get fazed by whatever happens around, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't come in the world and interact with it. They do interact.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, they do all that, but somewhere inside they know, and even if they temporarily get disturbed and all, they can very quickly go back to that state. For us, we're like, oh my God, we'll get swayed and this and that. So,
But I go by Ramakrishna, like the moment he heard word of God or something, he'll go in samadhi.
because he was
Later
at
on,
this.
he asked him, how was I? What was happening to me? He didn't know. So once you go in that mode, then you are not there.
See, sometimes it's hard for us, and I think that's why in Taittiriya Upanishad you will see that the verse that we are going to do, very interesting verse, where the teacher tells the fellow, go and contemplate, because he doesn't want to give him an answer. Because no matter what answer somebody gives, unless it is your own experience, doesn't mean anything after a while, right? That's why they say that, I was thinking about it actually, this. They say the people who are self-realized do not want to talk about their experience because it will limit the person. He will start trying to mimic that. And that's not the whole idea about that. Hey, it has to be your experience. So you take this data, you churn upon it yourself with your own mind, you think about it, and you transcend it yourself. So
You cannot compare it.
yeah, so you, because
You cannot
every,
describe it.
Right.
so we have to take all these together and then try to understand what they're trying to do,
I have this calendar with Swamiji's quotes. So the one is to say Lord is knowledge is jnanam. But the Lord is I is wisdom, vijnanam.
interesting.
Yes.
So he's
Your personal journey, huh?
I mean, it's so profound to me that
So
that once
also
you
you should add to that Jnanam Bandha, which is the Shiv Sutra. We say knowledge is a hindrance in meeting God. I hate to say that.
I mean, that is, you are talking about the highest now.
right.
And that's why,
Vivekananda used to come and all the time give lecture to Ramakrishna. I read this, I read that, and I read that. So he said, take this almanac, there's a weather almanac. He says, squeeze it, see if any water comes out. So that's your knowledge, of that level. So if you see the water coming out, then you know you have.
yeah, there is always a danger in each one. And that's why when we were doing, Nikhilanandji's thing, he's saying that you just keep doing the preparation. And when that knowledge will come, we don't know. That's number one, because that's not our territory, right? Phal dena Bhagwan ka kaam hai. But then Bhagwan knew that if Arjuna, so then, how will I get it? Don't worry. He said that I will give you buddhi yoga, more and more comprehension power. If once I see that you are sincere on this path, I will give you buddhi yoga. So there is our kya bolna chahiye, efforts are there, but in the end we need grace of God also. So everything combined, Yeah.
You know what Urmilji just said? That it is, we just did the 8th shloka. The last paragraph of that is what Urmilji just said in 2 lines.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's really makes a lot of sense. Whenever I feel anything, I look at this verse and this quote, and it says, first to say that the Lord is, okay, that itself is, great. Once you figure that, there is Lord, so that's knowledge, he says. And then to say that God is I, that's your experience, Vijnanam, he says.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Vijnanam is, So that's just, and to get to that point is, I don't know, when I would get there.
That's the process we're going to do now.
Right.
That's the process we're doing now.
Yep.
Then, we talked about the 3 things, the Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. You can have all these in one day, during the day. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is absolutely. So the only reason Krishna Bhagavan kind of told Arjuna that you should focus more on Karma Yoga is because you need a little mental preparation. Because bolte na ki too little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So suddenly, somebody gives you gyan and say, oh, you are God, and say, aham brahmasmi karke, you are going with a big fat ego. That's not going to work, right? So you need a little purification of mind. And like, I think I heard Vivekanand saying that you can have a synthesis of all of them. We all do. But some people have certain mind makeup. They gravitate more towards a particular one because some people are action oriented, so they do more karma yoga. Others are bhakti, so they indulge in some more bhakti, so that's fine. But in the end, a true karma yogi is already a jnani. It can take you to the high. Each path can lead you to the same goal. It will slide you into the more, like they used to explain, the more you learn about God, Gyan, Bhakti will apne aap hi jagegi, right? And if you do have a bhakti towards somebody, Gyan will start following it too, because you have devoted to that particular thing. So they all are kind of, it's a catch-22. Which one comes first, and later on it's hard. But the reason that Krishna Bhagwan told Arjuna, for him in the beginning, Karma Yoga is very, very important because most of us are action-oriented. And that was one point. And secondly, Krishna Bhagwan also said in Bhagavat Geeta that without action, we can't do anything in this world. We have to act. Even when you sit down and I'm not doing anything, you are sitting. That's also an action. So if we have to do something, might as well do the way that we can progress. So that's why he kind of, the interesting thing about Bhagavad Gita is people who are action oriented say Krishna Bhagavan talked about karma yoga, or the bhakti wala will say it's all about bhakti, there's nothing more. Like, if you go to Hare Krishna, they are soaked in bhakti, and every verse they'll pull out bhakti only from there. And Gyan wale bolenge, there is a complete Advait Vedanta in it. Sabko apni apni jhalak dikhai deti hai Bhagavad Gita mein. You can pick what you want, But he talked about all 3. That's what it is. This is how I look at it. Any other comment, question? Any volunteers to read?
I can read.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. With their minds wholly resting in me, with their senses absorbed in me, enlightening each other, and ever speaking of me, they are satisfied and delighted. The practical man of action, Arjuna, has been painted throughout the Gita as a person suffering from an acute appetite always to live what he knows. To him, any philosophical idea that cannot be put into practice in his own workday world is mere poetry meant for harem girls to read and higgle about. The teacher of Arjuna is also represented in Gita as poignantly conscious of his intense trait of his student. By an understanding of the macrocosmic and the microcosmic projections through devoted consciousness, even if a wise man is capable of actually coming in contact with and experiencing the infinite as his own real nature, Arjuna, for one, perhaps will have no objection to it, but he, the Pandava prince, will not himself try to reach such a fantastic goal unless he realizes that such an experience would make him a better man in life, add to his hunger to live, and definitely increase his share of joy and fulfillment.
I tell
Long
you,
sentence.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking that only Swamiji can write. He has the clarity to write this long sentence. We have to read it like 10 times to get decipher it, And basically, all he's trying to say is this. That look, Arjuna was very practical. कि मेरे को कोई practical चीज बताओ. खाली philosophy से मेरा मन नहीं भरने वाला कि can I do it? Will I get something out of it? That's the question we ask also. So, because Swamiji used to say, why would anybody go in the spiritual world if it's going to make you dukhi and, not help you, right? Then पहले ही दुनिया में इतने दुख है ऊपर से you go to the spiritual side and वहाँ भी झगड़े वगड़े ये सब शुरू हो जाए तो what's the point, right? So first practical, and then Krishna Bhagwan knew it. And then the second thing is, hey, all these fantastical thing you're talking about, like, Joe was talking about this happiness, which is like beyond this world and all. Can I get it also? It is just going to be just kind of a dream. And he's saying, if it is just going to be a dream, so Swamiji has his own way of saying, and these are the, girls giggling about this thing. Then nothing more to it. That's what he's trying to say. So he's just saying, no, this philosophy does have a lot of potency and you can get it, and you can, like Urmilji was saying, you can make it your own experience also if you follow this method. So that's what it is. And he's talking about it. And then the second part is that is it going to make me a better man in life? And will I be, whatever I'm living, it's going to enhance my thing. That's what he's trying to say. So he's just building a foundation that whatever Krishna Bhagwan is saying in this verse is going to give you all of that. That's what he's saying. Does that make it clear? What this paragraph, because I know the sentence is very long.
I guess this requires little contemplation on your own. Read it again, this long sentence to make some sense out of it. If our religious perfections were to make our life a liability to ourselves, no living creature would enter religion with any gusto. This enlivening verse is declared by the Lord to show that the religion of the Gita ushers mankind to a wider field of perfections, which can be available even while we are sweating and toiling at the allotted post of our duty.
Yeah, so this is what we were talking about, that, Swamiji is saying that if religion is not going to, if it's going to just make it like a liability, you get more dukhi and all that, and I can't do my work and all. And that's why Krishna Bhagwan, he told Arjuna said, why do you want me to fight if knowledge is everything and I can get the gyan by knowledge? So Krishna Bhagwan said, but you're not ready for it, number one. And then is saying that while fighting, keep your mind on me. Doesn't mean that he has to do Hare Krishna mantra the whole time. That's not what he was talking about. Knowing who God is, and I'm just doing my duty, phala is going to be given by Bhagwan. And Bhagwan also never promised him that you're going to win this war or nothing like that. You just do your duty. So all Swamiji is trying to tell over here is that this, whatever the path he's telling us, it is going to help us in our life. And, whatever work we are doing, it's just going to get better for us. We'll be able to do it with more enthusiasm, with more happiness and all that once we learn all this. That's what he's trying to say.
With a mind wholly turned to me, Mata Chitta, only with a mind completely integrated into steady single-pointedness can the seeker meditate efficiently upon the Supreme. Single-pointedness is lost if the mind is entertaining more than one idea. To remember electricity in all the bulbs, fans and heaters is not a question of any deliberate effort, but it is the very nature of our knowledge about it. To remember that all mud spots are made of mud, we need not strain ourselves. It is a voluntary repetition of an automatic act. Similarly, once our intellect is soaked with a convincing realization that the essence behind the God principle, Ishvara, and the individual ego, Jiva, is one and the same. Whatever feelings may arise in the mind or whatever thoughts may arise in our intellect, it is not very difficult for the truth seeker to remain constantly aware of consciousness, principle behind them all, and his constant awareness of the self is indicated here by the term Mat-Chitta.
So you saw that. He explained it absolutely beautifully. What Mat Chitta means. Chitta means like it's a part of mind, like Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Hankar. Chitta is in God, what it means, awareness and complete understanding. That everything that we see, the God is the substratum. And he gave such a beautiful example that, when we see the electrical equipment, we don't have to remind ourselves that it's electricity that's going through it, is making it work. We already know it, or mud and mud pots. If we want to sit and think about it, that's fine, but we have an awareness of it. The same way we should have an awareness of Bhagwan, and sometimes we still think Bhagwan is somewhere else. I'm over here and this and that, and through all this, we are in 10th chapter now. He has hammered it that hey, and especially in the first few verses in this, that macrocosm and microcosm, both the essence is the same. It's like there can be millions of waves in the ocean, but the whole thing is H2O only. So I can never be separate from it. That kind of awareness.
Doesn't it tell you the same thing that Urmilji was just saying? That the essence, if you realize,
yes,
and that's that in her quote,
yeah,
the essence behind God principle and you, so micro and macro.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's wisdom.
That's wisdom. And to kind of, sometimes we may know it intellectually, but it still may not be our experience. And that's why we have to continuously keep talking about whatever he mentioned in this verse. You have to continuously be at it, and one day it will become our experience. That's called that self-realization that a lot of people, few people have talked about it, not all of them do. So, true.
With their senses absorbed in me, Mat-Gata Prana, I don't know if I pronounce it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Mat-Gata Pranaha. This is from the verse. So anytime, this is what you do. Anytime there is something like that, go back to the verse, and all of us know how to read Hindi, and then you will know what they are. Because when you transliterate, it just messes it up. But Mat-Gata Prana. Yeah.
Mat-Gata Prana. The term prana is not to be translated merely in vital air, but as the 5 different manifestations of life available for our recognition as its philosophical, physiological functions. Here, however, the term prana is used mainly to indicate the 5 sense organs. These organs are perception, are the only peep windows through which our mind wanders out and the world of objects enter the mind in its return to the bosom. Vedanta never asks the seeker to retire or to run away as fugitives from the fields of sense objects, which is never possible so long as we are alive. The path of intellectual pursuit is the path of discrimination, a process through which we can so regulate and train our thoughts that at the impact of any object of the world, the mind immediately gets reminded of the eternal consciousness, without which the object would not have been illuminated for the mind to experience it.
So he's just saying that sentence. Yeah, true. He's telling the same thing like before, that firstly the prana is saying mat gataha prana, all तुम्हारे प्राण किस में बसते हैं, प्राण भगवान में बसने चाहिए. क्यों? Because you know that everything is coming from him, so all your senses and all, and he's saying that doesn't mean, and he made it very clear that you just shut everything and keep thinking about God. No, you can engage in the world, and that's what this whole chapter is about. It's called Vibhuti. You see see God in the world. When you see anything beautiful, anything fantastic, know for sure it's coming from him. So, and the reason he chose all those things in this chapter, because it's easier to see God in all the fantastical things. In the end, he said, I am through everything. And we have talked about it. Even negative thing, people cannot do even negative action without the grace of that consciousness. So that choice is ours. That's a whole different topic. But here is just basically saying that our mind should be immediately reminded us of that eternal consciousness, without which the object would have not been illuminated, for the mind also to experience this. So mind, our mind is functioning because of that conscious. That's why the word conscious is there. It's not exactly means consciousness, but that conscious part of our mind is a reflection of that consciousness. That's why we can understand everything. We are borrowing that power from that consciousness to be conscious. So like that we can think about it.
Discussing with one another. When students with a common intellectual interest come together and discuss among themselves their pet subject, they not only crystallize their knowledge, but often achieve a reassuring degree of confident knowledge in place of what was till then some lifeless information bits gathered from silent books. This technique of common discussion has been tirelessly emphasized in Vedanta and its very definition of Brahma Vidya, where it upholds this technique as one of its most important limbs of sadhana.
So now this whole thing is about the study groups only.
Yes,
like-minded
yes.
people coming together, discussing. And we also felt the same way after we joined the study group, that whatever concept we were hearing, they started becoming more live in our head, started making more sense to us, So because like-minded people, we are wrestling with the ideas, clearing our doubts and all that. And that's what he's talking about, that if you keep reading, it's like a information. It's, there was one incident with Swamiji. This person came and told Swamiji, Chinmayananji, that I've read all your books, Swamiji. He's saying, tomorrow go donate all of them to the library. Because after a while you can keep reading, but then if it's not getting into your head, this is the way. This particular verse is very important, that, this is the way it goes deeper into us and clears our doubts and all that.
A true seeker is he who maintains in himself a constant remembrance of the conscious principle in him, whatever be the activities of the mind or the sense organs. He maintains this channel of thinking steadily through mutual discussions on and constant seeking of the Atman. Such seekers ultimately come to experience a scintillating joy, lubricating life's wheel as they roll along their stony path. In the Upanishads, the same idea has been beautifully put by using a similar pair of words, sports, kridami,
No,
and reveals
kridanti. I'll tell you the meaning. Kridanti. Yeah.
kridami, and reveals ramanti. Here, however, the former word is replaced by an equally efficient term to indicate the same meaning, tushyanti.
Okay, so there are two words in if you go back to the verse, there is tushyanti and ramanti, right? He's saying that elsewhere in the Shastras, there is another word called kridanti. Kridanti is, krida karna, Hindi mein bolte hai na? Bhagwan ne krida kar rahe the. They were in the hot tub and they were, with water they were doing krida, something like that. Krida is having fun outside with the world. So he's just saying that here Bhagwan has used tushyanti and ramanti. Why he said that? Because see what he said, that conscious remembrance of this conscious principle, what will that do to you? He's saying that if you maintain that channel of thinking about and discussion about Atman and all, then the seekers ultimately experiencing a scintillating joy, softening their life's wheel. Means हम लोग के life में कितने दुख है ना, कि बोलते हैं कि waves की तरह आते हैं. Like you get up in the morning and you don't know what's gonna hit you. So and at old age nobody needs to remind us. All these kind of things hit us. So he's saying that this will make it soften it, our stony path. जैसे वो थोड़े फूल बिछ जाएंगे हमारे लिए चलने के लिए उसके ऊपर. We can handle our problems better. Let's put it. That's the simple way of they're trying to tell us. And he's saying that the kridanti sports में क्या होता है कि people having fun. वो like sometimes you wonder कि ये लोग अभी this Sunday is that Super Bowl, right? So people who enjoy Super Bowl, great. But people who don't, उनको लगता है ये क्या कर रहे हैं, एक दूसरे पे गिर रहे हैं, मर रहे हैं, टांगे टूट रही है, सर फूट रहा है. वो भी they are like, oh, we love it, and these people are getting millions. Kridanti, for fun. So life will become a little more fun. That's what he's saying. And then Ramanti is the word, that it's the same, reveling. And in the next paragraph, he's going to explain the technical difference. Kridanti is when you are enjoying something outside with some sport. And Ramanti means apne man mein hi khush ho rahi hu main. I don't need anything outside things to make me happy, because just by my thoughts and thoughts of God and whatever I'm learning, I'm just, so agar bahar kuch bhi अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, I can create that nice atmosphere in my head. That's also very, very important. Right? So both of them are covered over here. That's what they are saying. And Tushyanti means जब बोलते हैं ना संतुष्ट हो जाना. All of them have related to each other. Yeah, go ahead.
Though these two terms cannot almost be the same, though these two terms cannot almost the same meaning, commentators point out that between them there is a subtle difference. The former krida is a pleasure that is derived as a result of our contact with something other than ourselves, as in bath, dance, play, and so on. While the later ramana is also a pleasure but derived within ourselves by ourselves, without the intervention of any other object or objects other than ourselves, as in dreams, imaginations, plannings, remembrance, and so on.
So I just explained that. So krida is something that you take outside help, like bath, dance, play, and all that. And Ramanti, the word is coming from within myself, I'm becoming happy. And Bhagavan covered both of them, but here he just used a slightly different word, Ramanti and Tushyanti. And in other places in the Shastra, they use Kridanti and Ramanti. That's all he's saying.
In the context of the stanza, becomes quite evident that these two words stand for our life in the midst of the external world of objects and our subjective inward life when we are all alone by our own thoughts. One who has realized the truth through right understanding, and when one has invoked it through loving consciousness and has become all centered with the constant awareness, one gains a complete relief from the thraldom of one's external circumstances, of one's inner mental moods, or his intellectual dissatisfaction.
So this is the benefit you can get by, contemplating and listening, contemplating and Nidhi Dhyasan and all that. And there are two things in the world that we are all constantly happening. One is, this objective world outside and the subjective world inside. My own mind and all that. And then, like I was saying, that this chapter, some people say that, chapter 6 is meditation when you close your eyes and meditate, and chapter 10 is meditation, open eye meditation. When you see God in everything, both is covered, through this. That's what he's trying to say.
In all experiences, whether without or within, the perfect one is constantly aware of the consciousness that illumines all the experiences. Aladdin would have enjoyed the vision of Padmini, whether the mirror in which he looked was framed in gold, silver, iron, or wood. A perfect one is ever having the vision of the self, and therefore the details of the outer patterns or inward moods have nothing to do with him, and they cannot ever veil his vision of the self anywhere. Naturally, he sports and revels at all places, in all conditions, and at all times. Even a Shylock in life demanding his pound of joy and satisfaction cannot but feel that the spiritual power hunting can be a proposition which would pay a satisfactory dividend even in the workday world.
What I realized after I joined the Chinmaya Mission, I started learning about Vedanta through Swamiji, that I learned so many other things. It's like, now, because I didn't study all this Shylock and all that, and I was asking my son, and he said, I don't remember. So I said, you are the one. Then I saw that this is the Shakespeare's play. Whoever has gone to some convent school or something, they might know. So, and I said, but I thought you did this in your school. Say, I forgot, Mom. I had to go look for it. all they're trying to say, the reason he used that Padmini and Alauddin, because I think that the Alauddin wanted to see the Padmini, and the husband said, I can only show the image. I'm not going to show you the real person and all that. So he said that whether the wood frame or a gold frame, he would have still seen the same image. It's like, his way of explaining. All he's trying to say, so in the last paragraph, it said that he get relief from the thraldom of one's external circumstances. Because in many other verses in Bhagavat Geeta, Krishna Bhagavan told Arjuna that Brahma Vidya is the only Vidya that is going to take away your grief. Everything else is like a band-aid in the world. If you're feeling bad and depressed and all that, you can eat a laddu and feel good for maybe a 1 minute, or watch a movie, this, that. Again, it'll come back, whatever your dukh is. So if you want usko jad se nikalna hai tumhara, to that's Brahma Vidya. So just keep that in mind. So that's what this paragraph is telling you, that the outside condition doesn't matter to this. He's a jnani, this person, who sports and revels in this, because he knows the outside circumstances are temporary, number one, and that has nothing to do with that pure consciousness, which I am. Whatever I'm doing in this world is just different experiences, but I'm not truly affected by it. Just like the sunlight doesn't get affected, whether it touches the gutter or it touches Gangajal. Like that understanding he has developed through the contemplation and all that, listening, contemplation and all that. That's what he's mentioning over here in this paragraph. So I know for us it's like very fantastical goal, but at least if Krishna Bhagavan is saying, we have the Shraddha that yes, I can get there. And a little bit of it, I think all of us may be experiencing. Once you gain that knowledge, and if we remember that knowledge in our bad times, I can handle those better than before, which I didn't know anything about. So we can do our own experiment also in this.
The above-mentioned personality treatment prepares a student for the intuitive flight into the highest realm of active experiences in the passive truth, absolute, now unmanifest. This is a tough one. I have to read the sentence again, probably. Yeah.
If you want to read again, that's fine, but I'll try to explain once you finish the paragraph.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to explain what he's saying?
Yeah, yes.
So he's saying the above mentioned personality treatment means what in this verse, what he was talking about, that people, like-minded people come together, mad chitta, mad gat, pranaha, bodhayante, parasparam, they're talking to each other and all that. This is prepares a student for the intuitive flight into the higher realm. That's what prepares us to because when they talk about intuitive flight to the higher realm, like we saw that to understand consciousness, we have to transcend the body, mind, intellect. But there is a whole process. As somebody explained, if you want to take off in a plane, can I do it from my house? No, I have to go to the airport to take off the flight, right? So you have to create certain atmosphere in your mind to transcend everything. And this verse is telling you the method of transcending. Hey, first you revel in it, you contemplate and talk to each other about it, and then you will experience that final stage. That's what they're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yes. Mm-hmm. Even while walking the path of perfection, Lord Krishna asserts that the seekers on the path of discrimination will come to experience and live a sense of contentment and delight. This to provide the healthy mental attitude, generating the required inward atmosphere in which alone all spiritual progress can be guaranteed. The discontented and ever mourning seeker, painting in himself a miserable picture of mental stagnation and intellectual destitution, is not the blessed one that will ever gain an easy entry into the portals of joyless joy and the silent laughter, which is the eternal goal to be realized.
So again, this sentence is very big. Basically, what he's saying, that what is our final goal is to get that experience of that highest bliss, joy and all that. But on the path, while doing this, if I start getting more miserable and depressed and upset, I'm not going to get there. जैसे हिंदी में कोई कहावत है ना, Bhuke pet na hoi gopala. You know, you cannot tell a hungry person, hey, think of God. You say, what God? Give me the food first. You know, so that's what it is. So first you gotta be mentally feel happy, satisfied, content. Then you will be able to transcend. An unhappy person is not gonna. So this particular verse explains how to go towards that happiness. Hey, understand who God is, contemplate upon it, discuss upon it, talk to each other, learn from each other, teach somebody else. All that will create that more and more peace and quietude in yourself, and then you will be able to take that journey. That's what this thing is. Last paragraph is telling us.
Umaji, this word, joyless joy, is it bliss?
Yeah, you can say, sometimes like the English language or some words become difficult to express, but at that ultimate experience, there is just pure, you become the bliss, I guess. So that worldly joy doesn't, what should I say, has no meaning left over there then. Like we talk about it, that, you are going after $5 here and there, and somebody says you got an infinite amount of money. Then, what is the comparison to it? So they just use the word joyless joy, but that's what they mean. The worldly joy. This is the
explains where he's saying that entry into the portals of joyless joy.
Yeah, that means that highest state. Yeah.
So it shows you the gate to enter, but you have to work at it.
You have to work at it. And like our teacher used to say, that's a beautiful drishtant, that you can go up to the door of God, you can knock, but that he has to open it for you.
Right.
You have to just stand there. So our job is to make that journey towards it, prepare ourselves, and, keep contemplating, keep doing in this verse whatever he's talked about. And then we will be ready for that journey, final journey. But if you don't even do this, we won't be ready for it. That's what he's trying to say.
I mean, there's happiness is something else to me, but the contentment and the bliss that you get, that is different.
Yeah, you can say that. You can.
To be the bliss is, otherwise you can get happiness, but joyless, that means there is no, a temporary thing coming in.
Yes, you are right. When they say joyless joy, that's what actually it means, because there were previous verses that we have done in the Bhagavat Geeta and other chapters where they said that worldly happiness always ends in sorrow.
Right.
You might think, like the example they give is you love to eat a particular kind of sweet, और वही ठूसते जाओ वो दुख का कारण बन जाएगा, तुम्हारे पेट में दर्द हो जाएगा, you have to go to doctor or whatever. Anything too much. It's in the world, but this other path, the more you get, the more joy you get. That's the only difference. Yeah, that's what you're right. The joyless joy was mentioning the worldly joy. I think they're mentioning that. True. Yeah. So that was a good thing you brought up. Yeah.
Would it be like from joyless joy to endless joy?
Yeah, you can say endless or infinite. See, that's why they say that in the world, तुम किसको कितना भी कुछ दे दो, वो सेटिस्फाई नहीं होता है माइंड. किसी को $1 billion दे दो, he wants 5. पूरा अर्थ का राज्य दे दो तो फिर वो बोलेगा मुझे स्वर्ग का चाहिए. But so there is no, because we are craving for that infinite joy. That's what the Vedanta says. Because we are gravitating towards that, but we are looking at it in the wrong places. That's the problem.
Umaji, I have one theory about this.
Yes, sure.
That why are we here? And what are we doing all these multiple lifetimes?
Mm-hmm.
So my theory is it is God's Leela. In other words, he was alone and he duplicated us. He kept his Sat Chit Anand with him and sent us without the Anand. And he said, interact with each other and try to get back to me through this Anand.
I think great
and
theory.
What happens is, like that Taittiriya Upanishad is very good, because he said that Manushya Anand, you can have health, wealth, sex, and this, and that is only one level unit. And we spend multiple lifetimes trying to get that. So those are our karmas we create. Till you get the spirituality awareness. And then that door opens to you, and then you start seeing the real Anand. And the way you see is that when you are a human being and your mind, the Anand Maya Kosha is the limitation you can have. You cannot have beyond that. And so that Anand is not the same Anand as the Anand Maya limitation. Because that is constrained by our body.
Correct. It's limited, and that's why I think that I like this analogy that, I want sweet because it gives me happiness. What if you become, sugar yourself? That explains it all. So it's saying that God is that Sat Chitana, is bliss itself. So once you are in that, other things don't matter anymore. But that's why it said that the person who gets that final bliss, those worldly bliss are already included in it. Everything is already included, because some people have this fear, sansar mein bhi anand hai, but will I miss that? Then they are assuring you, no, that you are not going to miss anything once you get that. It's like somebody asking, is there $5 in $1 billion? Yes, there is. 5 is there, 10 is there, and 100,000 is also all included in it. So if you get the highest one, you get all the small things anyway. So that's what it is. So yeah,
these people, these self-realized people, they enjoy everything.
Yes.
Life, everything.
You are so right, because sometimes we have this crazy idea that, hey, they will kind of just sit in the gufa or they are not enjoying. No. They can enjoy because they're seeing God in it. So they know immediately that the worldly things also, the source is God only. So you're absolutely right. In fact, that's what I remember it happened to me. I was a very little girl, and my dad and mom took me to Vrindavan. I think I was about 10 years old. And there was one Swami sitting over there, and he was listening to music, and wo jhoom raha tha kuch. So I got very confused. I said, acha, ye Swami log bhi enjoy karte hain music ko. So then this person started to explain to me that we enjoy everything. Because everything, at that time I didn't get the gist of it, what he was saying. Now I do. They actually enjoy life a lot more than us. Right? Because we are always worried. Ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, and they are like totally relaxed. God is going to take care of me. Even if something goes up and down, it's just whatever. You're so right that they are enjoying it more. And I think that's what Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna. If you go on this path, you will start enjoying your life more because you will have less worries. Right? That's what it is.
तो मुझे एक जो सबसे बड़ी बात होती है, माइंड की स्ट्रगल खत्म हो जाती है.
Yes.
Otherwise, your mind is struggling all the time. Did I do it right, wrong? Did I hurt somebody? All that is gone.
Yeah. You just intuitively do the things and just leave it.
Yes.
Right. Like Swamiji's quote, do your best and leave the rest.
Right.
And that whole verse in verse 47 of chapter 2, when karmanya vadikaraste, he said, फल पे तुम्हारा अधिकार है ही नहीं. That is coming from somebody higher. So why are you worrying? Just keep doing firstly, you should know what to do, of course. That's the part of karma yoga, that, defining our duties and trying to do them. So not worrying. True. There's so many different ways you approach this. All of them come to the same conclusion, that your life will become happier, less worry, more enjoyable. That's what he's talking about.
Umaji, I joined this class with very limited knowledge of Vedanta and all that. But as I'm listening to all of you, and I'm trying to come to what I'm getting from this chapter, is that my life is a journey where I'm seeking a separation from I and becoming one with Brahman, but the journey in the process should be satisfying and delightful. And I'm progressing towards that, dissociating myself from I and becoming one with Brahman.
Yep.
And that's the journey which should be giving me satisfaction and the joy throughout the journy.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that's why we kind of stick to it too. Otherwise, none of us will be coming back. If we start feeling bad about it, why do I need to listen to this? True. So I think you got it. You summarized this nicely. Yeah.
As it is, there's a lot of bad stuff. We don't want to add to that.
Exactly. I mean, दुनिया में already दुख दर्द है. हमारी टीचर बोलती थी स्टडी ग्रुप में ना सब दुख दर्द से भागे हुए लोग ही आते हैं. We are on the same boat that we are, like with the worldly stuff, too saturated with all the things, and we want something better, in our life. So that's what we're doing. Absolutely. So the connecting sentence, you want to read?
I thought we were done.
Oh, is that part of your next one? Then we can do it next time. That's fine. In my book, it just says that having reached the stage of progress, right? Is that in your next one?
My next one was, there is nothing in mind.
Okay, so I'll just...
Okay. Oh, the beginning of the next one, yeah. Having reached this stage of progress in their march, from where do the seekers gain their guidance and strength to fulfill their pilgrimage?
So he just...
It's a question mark. Yeah.
Yes, question mark. So this is just connecting. So we'll do it next time. That, that Bhagwan is going to promise. That's why it's like what Swamiji was saying, that Arjuna will not go to this path if there is not something, exactly what you said, Falguniji, that I should be feeling happier, more content and all that. Then I'm going to go keep listening. And I think that's what is happening to Arjuna. If you think about it, शुरू में कितना depressed सुनने को तैयार नहीं था. Chapter 1 में तो he was just constantly he was saying things. And then beginning of chapter 2, whatever Krishna Bhagavan said, he was not listening. He was listening, but he was not agreeing. Let's put it this way. He was still giving, abhi dekho thoda change ho raha hai. Now he's asking more deeper question. And he's realizing there's a value in this and all that. So that's what is our journey also. True. Yeah.
I mean, that sentence, that do your best and leave the rest, that itself is so soothing to me. That
so soothing.
You just do your best and don't worry about it. That's it,
Yeah.
There's nothing in your control after that.
Exactly. So you are. I also love that sentence a lot. It's very simple and it's a good reminder. Yeah. Okay, I'll close Bhagavad Gita here. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om. One second, I'm trying to